Alright, Troy here with Lithogen. I'm in my workshop today. Customer is renting the LMX200, which is a GPR that is kind of designed as a turnkey solution for utility locating. He is going to be looking for a possible septic tank or similar at a property. So I am going to run through the LMX200 pre-job inspection here, make sure everything is working, and send this video along to the customer so that the customer has an easy time setting up the equipment and getting everything up and running on their side. Customers never used GPR before, so this is going to be done at a beginner level. For starters, we have a contract. I'm not going to show you the contract in detail there. The contract just tells us which unit, which serial number. We talk to the customer. The customer wants to add a GPS to the unit, so we're adding from our GPS shelf Juniper Systems Geo, serial number 432, and you can see it's field equipment, so it is in fact maybe due for a cleaning, but the equipment works. So with the Geode, it has an internal lithium-ion battery, so it has its own charging cable that will come with the device, as well as a data cable that is used to connect it to the GPR, and this data cable is just a standard DB9 serial cable. Set that aside. We have a custom shipping crate for the LMX200, just for our rental pool. It's quite a large crate. 4 latches. Lid lifts off. Usually a big chunk of foam in there just to keep things from moving around. A couple things in the box. We'll unpack it all and set it up on the table. Got a big chunk of foam. The system itself. There's some big chunks of foam that are stuck to the wheels. They just pop off. A couple of pins like this, just winch pins. They come out. Handle slides on. We'd have to adjust the position a little bit to get the holes to line up. And then just shuffle winch pins. Inside the electronics kit, there's quite a few items in there. We're just going to take them out one at a time and add them to the system so it's ready to use. Some extra Velcro in case needed. This cable here, just male and female ends. There's only one way to connect it. Don't try to force it. The GPS connection goes in here, again, the linchpin, and this is the GPS mount that gets put in its place. You'll notice that there's a little brass adapter on here. That is so that the screws on the geode battery charger is in the box for this black battery. Normally we ship the battery disconnected. You'll need to connect the battery before you use it. We're not going to use the charger right now. So a copy of the manual and a quick start guide inside the box, as well as the screen for the control unit. And there's a little piece of foam on there just to prevent it from getting scratched by everything else that's in the box. It slots in, and you have to run the cable, the antenna to here. And these are just thumb screws in cold weather. This is sometimes hard to do if you have mitts on. But lastly, I mentioned the serial cable here. I'm going to see if I have a shorter cable. I'm going to give them a brand new one that's a little bit shorter. That's too short. It's not going to work. Okay. Again, male and female. There's only one way it goes in. Don't force it. Sometimes the screws are a little bit sticky. It won't affect the operation as long as the cable's snug. I'm just going to spin the GPS here so you can see the light. There's a power button on the front of the GPS. It should be turned on. And there is a power plug that goes into the black box. And that needs to be tidy up this cable a little bit. Velcro is useful. I'm going to take this down now and adjust the camera. We'll see how the glare is. Not great, eh? Power button once to turn it on. Takes a minute or two. It's like watching a computer boot. Let's try a little better for glare. Right, so system's up and running. There's a couple of tests you can do prior to getting started. So you can go to Tools, System Test, You can test the GPR sensor. This takes probably about 30 seconds. It tells you to tip it up, but I never really do. It doesn't seem to affect the test. There's probably an ideal version versus a practical version. Test passed. Excellent. Alright, next test. GPS. It's set to external GPS. Test was successful. If you go to the strings, you can actually see the GPS data streaming in over that cord. If you unplug this cord, it would stop working. And if you go to GPS setup, you can just confirm it's set to external GPS. Make sure that serial port power is turned off. You don't want to short out our GPS. We're inside my workshop. We're getting 18 satellites. That's pretty nice. One thing worth testing is the odometer. I'm going to do a limited version of this test here in the shop because I don't have room to lay out my 5 meters, but I'm just going to confirm the odometer is working. If you hit odometer test, it says measure out the test line 5 meters long. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to hit start. I'm going to start pushing, and you can see the number here starts to increment. It seems to be going up at approximately the right rate. I'm going to back it up a little bit, make sure it actually goes backwards, up, down, working as expected. If I spin the tire with the odometer attached, I can spin it to almost, exactly 5 meters or whatever. The odometer's working. I don't know if it's calibrated right. If you really want to confirm your calibration out there, you can, but because you're using the GPS, it doesn't really matter. Alright, that's it for system tests. If you want to collect data in line mode, and this is how I'm going to recommend collecting data for this customer, you just hit line scan, you hit start, it'll give you a line number, and you start driving. And we have GPR data. We're in my garage. I wasn't really expecting to see a lot. So, there you go. You can hit line view settings here. You can change a couple different things like the depth of interpretation. For this customer, we probably changed the zoom so that maybe you're only seeing the top 4 meters. And maybe compress the data this direction a little bit. Yeah. You can change the color scale. There's no right or wrong way here. I usually use color 1. I usually don't put a lot of filters on, but you can, and you can see a bunch of different changes. This doesn't actually affect the data itself, how it's being stored. It only affects how it's shown on screen. And then you can change the gain. I usually have the gain somewhere between 4 and 6. This is like changing the contrast on an old school television where you can really pump up the contrast until you see what you need to see. I'm going to set gain 5. That's reasonable. 6 is also reasonable. Back. Split view gives you a little map that you can watch yourself drive around in. Don't really need it. Line view. Whatever makes you happy. We hit stop. exit. If you want to collect each line separately, you can start a new line number each time, or you can just wander around like a lawnmower until you've covered the whole site. When you're done, and you want to copy the data, just stick a USB stick in the side port, and the system will go, "A USB device has been connected. Do you want to do something?" "Yes." "Exporting." "Done." And you can look at it on a computer or send it to someone who's a professional or something to have a second look. All right, that's it for the basic overview. The last thing here is, I guess, putting it back in the crate, and I'm going to film that just for the sake of completedness. Actually, maybe what I'll do, file management, and I'm going to delete that data I just created, so there's no data on the device when it arrives for the customer. Power, yes. Just much easier to work when everything's up high. You don't have to bend over. Alright, make sure the GPS is turned off. It has its own power switch. There's just a pin here to pull to release that, and just so the screen doesn't get too scratched. I usually put the manual on top of the screen, and more protection so this other stuff in the box doesn't scratch the screen. Like this. I don't want that scratching the screen. I'm just not going to send this. Power. Block of foam. Electronics box. Handle. This box in here too. Another block of foam. Keep everything snug. 4 latches. And finally, because there's that GPS in there, lithium-ion battery stickers. Company phone number on it. "36 watt-hours." Size of the battery. And we'll stick a sticker on here somewhere. And there you go. It's a shipping label away from being ready to ship. Now, it was already cleaned and checked in prior to all this. When it comes back from the customer, sometimes there's work to do other than the routine. That's all. Bye.